things. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Warrior Within, a new journey. I'm your host, Jaime Bennett, and I am so beyond excited and honored to have today's guest on this show. But before I speak any further, viewer discretion is advised because we do cover sensitive topics on this show, and sometimes we may curse here and there. So viewer discretion is advised. As always, I have a really special guest on today's show. She is an amazingly talented photographer who's going to be talking about her life and why she is a warrior within. Her name is Tammie Birdwell. And without further ado, may I introduce you to my amazing guest, Tammie Birdwell.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
So you are a photographer. I've seen your work. You're amazingly talented. And
thank you.
I really enjoy seeing your photos. And not only are you a photographer, but you do concert photography, which I just find inspiring and fascinating, especially being a female photographer. It is a little bit harder for us to get in the photography pit and be doing photos for concerts. Would you like to talk a little bit about that and any issues that you may have had involving being a concert photographer?
Absolutely. Oddly enough, I've been doing it for 2 years. And oddly enough, I never really had an issue until I guess it was in March. I was shooting a show, and I won't mention the place because I don't want to. But I was shooting my favorite band, who, by the way, knows me. They're my friends. Their photographer knows me really well. If you're familiar with the show, there's always, not always, but the bigger shows have a photo pit in the front where for the photographers, and you get the first 3 songs, and then you have to. The security guard originally let me in. So it was me, it was the band's photographer, who I know him really well, and then another guy who just had bought a VIP ticket. So he had a VIP badge on himself. When I know what I'm doing. So when I walked in the door, I asked them, hey, where's my photo pass? They're like, we don't do that. So I didn't have a photo pass. I had no way to, other than the camera in my hand, I had to tell the security guy they just didn't have one. And he originally let me in. And the good thing about the band I was shooting is they're a jam band. So the first 3 songs can actually be about 20 minutes, which is really good because this is a sold out show in a tiny theater. So the crowd was packed. And I knew once I was out of that pit, getting close was going to be really hard again. So the first song wasn't even over. And the security guy who had just let me in came over and grabbed me and said, you don't have fucking credentials. And I was like, I tried to say, yes, I do. I do. Just go talk to the door person, go find somebody with a list. I'm on it. I'm always on it. And he kicked me out. He was an asshole. And I lost it. Like it was so unexpected and so out of left field. And because I'm autistic, it also hit all of these like we have a very innate sense of fairness. So when something unfair happens to us and we know that it's not fair, it can be very, very upsetting. And I went upstairs and I had sort of a mini meltdown. And then I found someone with a radio because I know at a show, usually the guy with the radio can talk to people. I explained what was going on to the guy with the radio. Said I'm on the list. I'm fully credentialed. I didn't get all the shots I need. Help me out here. Now, up to this point, I would have thought that perhaps maybe, he didn't kick me out because I'm a female photographer. Perhaps maybe he was just an asshole or, whatever. He just thought he was doing his job, right? Yeah. I gave him that. I gave him that at first, right? But then once approached by the manager of the establishment who said she's fully credentialed, he then lied.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible.
He then lied when he was faced with the fact that I had all my credentials I needed. He lied. He said a member of the band asked her to leave.
That's awful. That had
to be... Again, it infuriated me. It infuriated me. And again, all these autism bells are going off and I'm like, this is just so unfair. This is just so unfair. I belong here. And even, the guy is still up there. The guy, by the way, with the VIP pass, he stayed in the pit for the entire show. He didn't have credentials. He stayed for the entire show. I didn't find the band's manager until about the last 3 songs. And he, at that point, I got up as close as I could. I got the shots I could that night. But I was unable to regulate for the next 5 shows that I did as a result of what that man did to me.
Yeah.
I thought I was okay. I used to go to shows and I'm used to feeling really nervous before a show. I'm used to that. But as soon as I walk in the door, as soon as I open my camera bag, I'm okay. That's, it's my special interest. That's, that's how I see live music. I don't pay attention to what's going on around me. I'm just behind my camera, focusing on the musicians. And I love it. And I forgot where I was.
You're fine.
But for 5 shows, I couldn't regulate. So I actually just recently came off of what was supposed to be a month-long, break. I ended up doing 3 shows. Because a band called me and asked. Usually I do it for different publications and things like that, different websites and blogs and stuff, but this time the band themselves called me, and they're all really young and adorable.
Oh.
And I just couldn't say no.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and last band I know is always really fun to shoot because they're a Prince Bowie cover band. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to dip my toe back in to make sure that I was going to be able to regulate at shows, because starting tomorrow I have a 2-day festival I'm shooting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. I even sold my first print.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. That's incredible.
I made a post today about finding myself behind my camera on the ground. And honestly, it couldn't be more true. I moved to New York 5.5 years ago with $250 in my pocket and what I could fit in a station wagon.
Yeah.
I'm one of those horror stories you hear about. I shouldn't do air quotes. I'm one of those horror stories you hear about. Um, as soon as my kids were raised, I didn't realize it at the time. I was having autistic burnout, which caused me to have fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
And, so as soon as my kids were raised, a 22-year marriage just came to an end.
Oh, wow.
And we were always pretty tight monetarily. I knew he was supporting my son through college. So I didn't, he paid me like $250 for like 6 months. And that was it. And he bought me the station wagon. That's pretty much what I got for 22 years of marriage. But my kid's he's working on his doctorate in astrophysics. So I can't complain about that at all.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, our goal as mothers is for our children to do better than us. But no one prepared me for what it was going to feel like when they were.
Understandable.
Because starting over from scratch at 41 years old with, at the time I didn't even know autism because again, for my first few years up here, I just felt lost. And even though I have a partner now, I felt alone and I was just very confused. And every day I would wake up and just feel this sense of dread, like, oh God, just another day I have to get through, right? I felt like that for years. And then one day I would go out and throw disc golf with my partner. And one day I found these tiny orange mushrooms on the ground. And so I got done with my camera and I took pictures of it because I love tiny things. I took pictures of the tiny mushrooms and I found myself sort of staring at those photos and feeling really good. And so it's kind of double-sided because I became obsessed. I found a special interest and I became obsessed with mushrooms and photography and all of that ended up with me figuring out that I'm a member of the lost generation, which is women who didn't get diagnosed with autism until, well, for me it was just a little over a week ago. But
wow.
Yay.
What an incredible journey. I mean, isn't it amazing like how therapeutic our art can be for us?
It's been entirely life altering for me. It's changed everything. I found myself on the ground with these mushrooms, and then I got really lucky. I'm a concert photographer because I got lucky.
Yeah.
My partner's lived here for a long time and he knows a lot of people. So I got really lucky and I just know the right people because that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, that and getting the good shots. If I sucked, they wouldn't ask me back. You know what I mean?
True.
But yeah, it's quite a dichotomy though, because I'm not really getting paid that often or that much for what I do. I did sell a print on Etsy, which was awesome and exciting.
Awesome.
But it's slow. Like the earning money part has definitely been a slow process. My partner and I are currently staying with his dad. So my life's this dichotomy where I'm shooting Tears for Fears this summer.
Yeah. Awesome. That is so cool.
I know. But then I'm also living at my partner's house. So, but I'll take it. I've been finding my joy and I even found a camera I've been looking for today from an old friend of mine. So my positive attitude keeps bringing good things to me, which it feels nice. It feels nice after 5.5 years of just feeling afraid all the time, to finally feel like I'm getting some control over things.
Yeah.
That I can't even find words to describe what that feels like. But just to anybody out there who's going through it, just know, like, you can get here. Like, it's possible. You just got to find your spot. You just got to find your thing.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I've got like a bachelor's in recording technologies, and I've been in the media industry for over 20 years, and I'm just now, at the age of 43 getting to this point, like I was so depressed before, but now I'm like actually enjoying doing media. I'm enjoying doing these shows and having great conversations with guests like you.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful feeling. It's like I just enjoy it so much.
I wish I could tell someone how to find their thing, though.
Yeah.
I wish, because mine just happens so organically.
Yeah.
And I just my timing was perfect, because all of a sudden everybody's into mushrooms and everybody's wearing the mushroom pants. And that's what I love taking pictures of when I'm not at concerts.
Yeah.
I'm still taking mushroom photos, and it's been, yeah, but I can't, it just happens so organically.
Yeah.
Just don't, so I guess the advice then would be, don't give up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't stop trying. Don't be afraid to try that new thing. Don't be afraid to get down on the ground and look at that mushroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I've been, like I said, in the media industry for over 20 years, but, I'm just now getting to my place and getting, comfortable and doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
it is a great feeling. Like, it really is a great feeling. I know that I've had friends who say, "Oh, I might as well just give up." I'm like, don't give up, because that next drawing, that next photo, that next song that you write may get somewhere. Like, you never know.
Exactly. Don't stop. Don't stop. Like, just don't stop. Even if it's baby steps, even if you don't feel better right away, if something makes you feel kind of good, do that thing. Do that thing. I tried to avoid photography forever because I'm broke and it's expensive.
It can be.
Ironically, had I saved all the money I had spent on all the other crafts I tried first. but yeah. But even there, I'm looking out, because I know a lot of people in the industry. So I found a good deal on a camera today. So I'm even going to be able to upgrade my gear. I'm going to finally not feel like an asshole in the pit, because right now, like, not only am I a female, right? I stand out because I'm surrounded by men, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me at all. They all respect me. I know all of them. I know the dance. I'm good at the dance. I'm good. I don't camp, which is the rule. Like, don't stand in a spot and stay there. But they all have these amazing cameras, right? With like these huge lenses. And here I am with my little baby starter camera, with my little Canon. And I'm very excited to get the new gear, because that's no longer going to be the case. And I'm not going to have to, because right now I'm the only one in the pit who has to, like, switch out my lenses, to get different shots, because everybody else has at least 2 cameras, so
yeah,
I'm excited to upgrade the gear.
I am so happy for you. See, this is why you need to support your fellow artists, because
Yes.
we need to upgrade our equipment. We need to be able to do things, way better. So
Yes. Yes.
definitely support your
Yes.
fellow artists.
Yes. I'm building my Etsy. I'm putting lots of prints up there. Hopefully people want to buy them.
And I will put a link to her Etsy shop in the description, so you all need to go check it out. Buy some prints, because that would help Tammie out with her equipment, and it would help her to be able to continue to do what she loves to do. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're really cool shots.
Yeah.
I love taking pictures of mushrooms and, colorful and weird things.
Yeah.
I moss.
That's what I do with my photography. I have I've taken a lot of photography classes throughout my years in college and the university, and that's what I like to take photos of, is like nature. But you can also catch me, because they won't approve my press pass yet. Hello, Atlanta. Approve my press pass.
Approve her pass. Approve her pass. Let her in. Give her a photo pass right now. Yes. That's from New York. That's a direct order.
I would very much appreciate it. But I'm up there front row center with my little phone camera taking images, and I do the best that I can with what I've got. So I'm hoping that somebody from Live Nation, to name names, Live Nation.
Live Nation, yes.
I'm hoping somebody from Live Nation sees some of my images and says, okay, maybe we should give her a press pass.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. The camera I'm getting, just fun fact, the camera I'm getting shot the cover of High Times. A cover of High Times.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I know. I know. Like,
I
so appreciate the history of it too, because it's coming from a really dear friend and mentor of mine.
Oh,
he was my partner in crime when we were legalizing medicinal marijuana in PA.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things I got accomplished down there.
Oh, wow.
And then I moved to New York this same month. Everyone was getting their card.
Oh, wow.
So I have yet to go to a dispensary. Yet. Even though I've helped get bills passed, I've helped get things taken out of bills, I have yet to,
See, y'all, she's not just an incredible photographer. She has done incredible things. Like, you are a true warrior within, that's for sure.
Yeah. I outdebated a sitting member of the House of Representatives.
Oh, wow.
Too quickly. It was too easy. Like, because he wanted to put a thing in the PTSD bill, and I explained to him why that would be a bad idea. Because he said we should study it more. I said, you can't study it properly if you don't have a full sample size. So, it was that fast.
Yeah.
And he took it out of the bill, and I left there feeling it shouldn't have been that easy.
Yeah.
I wish I wanted my elected officials to be smarter than me, but that was a disappointing interaction.
Well,
but we got it passed.
Yes, that's incredible. I love hearing that so much. Now, you said that you just recently got diagnosed with autism.
Yes.
And your photography is kind of a tool that you use with that.
It is.
Do you want to talk more about, your journey through being diagnosed at an older age with autism?
That was hard. If you are older and you are female and you are feeling like you might be a member of the lost generation, ultimately the reason that this is going to sound nuts because I shoot concerts, but I'm autistic. Yeah. So at concerts, I can only hear the music, right? There's not other things distracting me, especially when I'm right in front of the speakers. Anyway, I'm sorry, I was talking about autism, but the diagnosis, yes. I am getting diagnosed because I can't work. I am getting diagnosed because I can't work. I've tried a whole bunch of different jobs, and even my cannabis trimming job that I did for a month this year, because the New York's program is kind of a mess. I wasn't, I didn't do good. And it was the only thing I could do. And I would just come home and lay here all weekend. So all I was doing was trimming. And that's not really living, when all you do is work, even if your work is kind of fun. You know.
Yeah.
So I got my diagnosis because I needed it because I applied for disability.
Yeah.
Without the diagnosis, I might not have gotten it again. And I know that I can't work because my sound sensitivities are so severe.
Yeah.
All of the jobs that I've tried to do. And I've even had people make me feel badly about it. Like when I worked in a restaurant and they played this, I can't stand music that screams at me.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I'm like, hey, you choose it, but can you please switch it to something less screamy, just slightly less screamy? That's all I asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, if you can't stand music, how do you even live?
That's awful. That is awful.
Yes. By the way, that is not something you say to an autistic person.
No.
Because we are struggling to be where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we are masking for you. So, yeah. That's not something we say to autistic people.
Yeah. Like my
Lesson number one.
My daughter's on the spectrum, so I totally understand. And what people need to realize is every person who has been diagnosed as being on the spectrum, diagnosed as autistic, they have different sensitivities. They're not all the same.
We are not all the same.
So, like, where with my daughter used to be sensitive to loud noises, she's gotten better with loud noises since she's gotten older. But she used to be sensitive to textures, to loud noises. She had like food sensitivity. So, like, what people need to realize is not every person who's been diagnosed with autism or on the spectrum are the same. Like, they have different sensitivities.
We are not the same. And the one thing I wanted to add is self-diagnosis is valid. I had to self-diagnose for 2 years before I could find my appointment. It took me 2 years to get the appointment. And the only reason I got the appointment was because my therapist lives in my state and knew the guy. So that's the only reason that I found him, because he wasn't coming up on Google searches. He wasn't coming up on my insurance's page. So it's there are trains. Do your research, because there are it's self-diagnosis is valid. There's a bunch of assessments you can take online. When you take the assessments, answer them honestly. Don't answer them how you wish you were. Because I told myself for many years that I was this lovey-dovey, hippie empath, and it's not like I turned into a raging bitch, but I'm not. But I'm not that either. I'm not, I'm not like a free loving, because if you're racist or homophobic or any of the other things, I will call you on it immediately, and I won't be nice.
Yeah.
So I'm not a hippie, because hippies just kind of ignore that and walk away.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate honesty in like in your face honesty versus
Yeah.
sugarcoating everything. I can't stand that.
Yeah. No, I can't lie. And lots of workplaces say they enjoy that until they hire you, and then they don't so much.
Yeah.
Because but
There.
yeah, but do your research. If you feel like you need an assessment, it is worth the work, because it was hard. It was hard. You're gonna have to make phone calls. You're gonna have to answer phone calls, but it was worth every second, because I'm validated, and I feel for the first time in 47 years like I'm finally getting to know myself. And with that, for me, with the assessment, it allowed me to start to get to know myself.
Yeah. And that's extremely
So
important. Very, very
yes.
important. Like I tell my friends, who are down in the dumps and stuff, like my single friends, I guess you would say. I said, how do you expect anybody else to love you if you can't love yourself first? You need to appreciate yourself, you need to respect yourself, and you need to learn about yourself. You can't expect anybody else to love
Yeah.
you unless you
I've been really lucky. My partner's been really understanding and really, really supportive
That's
of
awesome.
what I'm going through. And yeah, he's been great. He's been really supportive and understanding. We watched some shows together so I could teach him. When I first started to figure it out, the show Atypical on Netflix helped me.
Oh, I like that show. It's a good show.
I watched that show and I said, oh, I am. Because the way they depicted the sound sensitivities and the way he was picking them up, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I do. So I watched it with my partner, and I kept pausing it, and it was a delightful way to teach him. And he's been so understanding and supportive since. I've had meltdowns in front of him, and he's great about it.
That's extremely important to have,
So important.
to have
That's
somebody.
why I chose him so quickly. I wasn't single very long at all, but like, he's gentle and sweet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, an older man who is gentle and sweet. You're mine now. I snatched him up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
hearing stuff like that. That's awesome. My daughter was diagnosed when she was little. She had been seeing therapists, like physical therapists and stuff, when she was like 2 years old and 3 years old. From birth up to 3 years of age, she had seen therapists because she was in the NICU. But we kind of thought maybe she could be on the spectrum because things had to be done in a certain fashion or she would just have a meltdown. And I'm like, that's okay. That's fine. We just got to do it Willow's way. And there's nothing wrong with that. She would line all the crayons up from the point, and they had to be in the same color category. And so I was like, I think maybe we should be talking to like some of her therapists and seeing if maybe she's on the spectrum. And so we just went from there, and she got diagnosed at a pretty young age, which that's good.
I'm so glad these conversations are happening now, because a huge part of this late diagnosis has been grieving the life I could have had if I had known a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
That's been a huge part of this. So I'm really glad these conversations are finally happening, so that people can learn more. Like you recognize, you're like, she's lining up her crayons, we need to have her check. Yes. Yes. And it's not something to fear.
Mm-mm.
It's not something to be scared of. If I could give it away, I would. Okay, I give away my sound sensitivities. I'm not gonna lie, because those are crippling, literally crippling. But my autism itself, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think it makes me special, and I think it makes me unique, and I've always felt different. Yeah, but now I'm part of there's a huge community for us out there now, and it's been good.
Yeah,
It's been really good.
Willow's incredible. Like, I tell people, I'm like, so what? She's on
Exactly.
the she's not any different.
Exactly.
Like, anything that makes her more amazing and more
Right.
talented.
Right.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
People just need to talk about it more. It needs to be more in conversations, and
that's why I'm an open book about it. You know, that's why I'm willing to talk about it. If anybody, if you want to talk more about it, reach out on my socials. I'm willing to answer any question you might have, especially if you have a little and you have a question.
Yeah.
Reach out. Yeah. Because I've studied a lot. I learned a lot, you know, while I was on the ground shooting mushrooms. I was figuring out exactly what autism is. And TikTok is a great resource for it.
Yeah.
It really just has been. It's been great being on there and finding other autistics who can say things in a way that I can't, you know, because now that I'm allowed to be autistic, you know, because I had a girlfriend who works with autistic children tell me that everybody's a little bit autistic. And that's another thing we don't say to autistic people. But while I'm sorry, I forgot where I was again.
No, you're fine. You're doing great.
But yeah, having the official diagnosis has enabled me to settle into myself.
Yeah.
And being allowed to be autistic has almost made me feel more autistic, but not in a bad way. Just in a, you know, hey, I'm finally getting to know myself way. You know, like today when I found out about that gear, I had a whole moment where I was like rolling around in the bed and making these noises.
That's great.
my partner asked me, he's like, is there anything that you need or want me to do right now? And I'm like, no, you just have to wait till this is over.
Works.
Yeah. So you know, that's the other thing people need to remember. People don't grow out of autism. As a matter of fact, in women, it tends to get worse. Yeah, especially us undiagnosed women who masked for so long. We made ourselves sick, which is in my theory is that that's what the fibromyalgia is. Because when I got fibromyalgia, it turned the autism up from like a 4 to an 11.
Oh, wow.
You know, and all my autistic traits that were bothersome before became crippling.
Yeah. I know that I had a friend in college who got diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at the age of like 19. They didn't know that, you know, she had it up until that point. And like, I know after she was diagnosed with it, you know, everything got better for her. Like, she was able to cope with things better. She was able to, you know, live life better.
Exactly. It's for me, it felt like, you know, I have permission now to wear my headphones in public. You know, it's I have the paper to prove I'm allowed to have these headphones on and not look stupid. I know that sounds weird, but it felt like validation. And you know, yeah, it feels really good to get to know this special, weird, quirky me. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't understand too is like when you say autism, there's different forms of autism. Like there's different.
Yes, because I have ADHD too.
Yeah.
So I before, especially before I was medicated for the ADHD, my brain felt like it was battling itself.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a lot to deal with. But I'm medicated and much better now.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I think that, you know, I can't speak for you, but in my daughter's circumstance, like her focusing on, she loves music. That's something that she loves to do.
That's beautiful.
She loves
That's beautiful.
music. Sleeping with Sirens, shout out to them. That's like her favorite band, and
awesome.
It's very therapeutic for her. And that's why I say, every person who is on the spectrum and who has been diagnosed with autism has different sensitivities. Like her started out with noise, but that's not so much the case anymore.
Yep.
Like it's like she went from having a sound sensitivity to now she can't stand being outside because she's afraid of bugs, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. We work around it. No big deal.
Yes, that we can deal with. Yeah. And that's really good. I'm very pleased she found a special interest. For the autistic parents out there who feel like you're struggling with your kids and who feel like they're all over the place, just keep trying different stuff, man. Like finding a special interest is essential. It's essential because not only is it something for us to do, but it gets us out of our head for a little while. And it brings us peace. And so if you're struggling with your autistic kid and they keep having meltdowns and you don't know what to do with them, keep trying new things, because eventually they're going to find their special interest and that's going to calm them right on down.
Yes, most definitely. And I know like sometimes we just had to let Willow be. Like he was having a meltdown, you get them to a safe place and you just let them be. You let them have their moment.
Yes.
You make sure they're in a safe place, that they can't hurt themselves, and you just let them have their moment.
And a meltdown is not someone acting like a brat or being a Karen. A meltdown is neurological. Mm-hmm. It physically feels like you're on fire and you are no longer in control of yourself. You can't think, you can't reason, your brain doesn't work, everything just stops working. You're not, it is completely out of our control.
Yeah.
When we have a meltdown, we're not being brats, we're not being attention seekers, we are simply having a moment, and especially for the grown-ups, we're likely very, very embarrassed and trying to get away from the situation as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So like what obstacles do you face, like having that diagnosis as an adult, just recently finding out and getting that diagnosis with like your photography career? And
I honestly feel again more understood. Mm-hmm. Because I've shared online about my experiences. I'm sharing freely about my experiences because I want other people to, feel comfortable about it too. I have a lot of very supportive friends because I share so much about it. For some reason, it's made them touch me more.
Oh no.
When I'm shooting, and I'm not sure why that's happening.
No.
But yeah, I have a lot of really supportive, so I'm really lucky because I know that a lot of people in my situation struggle to, I call them friends. They're people I see at shows that I know, right? I have like 3 or 4 friends, and then the rest are people that I know and care about and would do things for, but don't talk too often. But yeah, I have supportive friends, and I'm very open even at the show about it. I've had bands ask me, I've had conversation with bands after the show, ask me questions, and I'm very open about being autistic, and I'm autistic, so I get interesting shots. I'm able to be at the show because I have a camera in my hands. you
Yeah.
know, and I've ended up meeting other autistics that way,
Oh,
which
wow.
has been really good, you know, other in bands and such. People are very understanding about it. I've even stopped getting weird looks when I'm sitting in my headphones before a show. Yeah, because I'm starting to be. I've done enough shows now where I'm a familiar face, so you know, people just kind of don't even notice anymore. So don't be embarrassed to wear your headphones. Wear your ear protection if you need it. Don't be shy about that stuff. If you need it, you need it. Because I was shy about that for years. I didn't know the word misophonia is the word for hearing sensitivity. I
Yeah.
didn't know that word until I was in my 40s.
Oh, wow.
When I was in school, you know, and they would seat the girl behind me and she would be chewing her gum. I could never listen because I was pinching my thighs, but I was way too embarrassed to tell anyone. Clearly autistic. Looking back, all of those things are signs I missed. But you know, yeah, if I had had the words to speak about it, I could have gotten help a lot sooner. But
Yeah.
I in the 80s, these weren't things that you could or should talk about,
Yeah.
especially in a family like mine. I came from a super conservative household. So, which is why my Tears for Fears gig is such a big deal. Because I used to sneak the radio to where my mom didn't know. And, you know, Tears for Fears and Foreigner were both bands that were popular at the time. And I would look out across the cornfields and think, maybe their bus will break down in front of the house. Because at the time, when I was little, I'm thinking, you know, that's the only access I'm going to ever have to these people. If for some reason their bus fell out of the sky. So, you know, if someone had told that little girl, you know, to give it a few decades that she was going to be in the photo pit, she wouldn't have believed them at all. You
Well,
know, it's incredible that I've come this far. I'm
well,
proud of myself, which feels really good.
yeah.
It's okay to be proud of yourself,
Yeah.
ladies. It's okay to be proud of yourself.
Yes.
I encourage the feeling.
Yes.
It doesn't take any pride away from your children or your loved ones. It's okay to be proud of yourself.
Yes. Very much so.
It feels really good.
I that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. It's always incredible to hear these stories, and like, you know, as females especially, we need to, you know, empower each other. That's why I
Yes,
created this show to begin with. Not just, you know, female empowerment, but the human experience empowerment, because like
yes,
we need to lift each other up. We need to help each other out. And
definitely.
these
And there are a
subjects,
lot of autistic people who can't speak about this or who are nonverbal. And, you know, I'm speaking for them too.
yeah, which
You
I
know,
really
yeah. I've gone nonverbal a couple of times. I know what it feels like, and I know kind of what's going through their minds when they're feeling nonverbal. Um, and yeah, they deserve a shout out and some attention as well, because sadly, you know, they don't get much attention on any platform simply because they can't speak. So
yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Like, what a lot of people don't know about me is I have severe anxiety, and sometimes that can be crippling. And
yes,
before I even like attend a concert or before I do one of these interviews, I'm so nervous. Like, I get so nervous. Like, my mouth gets dry. I get the sweaty palms, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that I don't mess up. I hope I do justice to the interview. But, you know, in this particular interview, I am not feeling nervous at all. Like,
no,
Tammie
me neither.
is
I think we're doing great.
conversation. I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think it's just like, you know, a nerve issue. I'm always trying to be a perfectionist, and I know that I can't accomplish that. So I've finally come to terms with, you know, as long as I do the best that I can do, that's all that matters.
Your only competition should be yourself.
Yeah,
But there's a flip side to that, because you don't be too hard on yourself.
exactly.
You know, give yourself the same grace you would give someone else. That's you know, give yourself the same grace you would give your child or your
Yeah.
mom or your brother. You know, let yourself learn, and the greatest teachers are mistakes.
Yes, most
They
definitely.
really are. I mean, you should see the photos from my first show. I, I saw them today because I've been playing in Lightroom,
Oh.
and I was so I cringed again. I was so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed, but I've improved greatly since then.
I've thought about that with like my radio career, because I started off as a radio DJ, and I had done interviews with people like Terry Gross and stuff, and I'm not bragging by any means, but like I'm like, if that Jamie can do an interview with someone like Terry Gross, then why
Right,
should this
right.
me, you know, 20 some odd years later, be so nervous?
There's no logic to anxiety.
No, not at all.
My pattern recognition would have picked that up by now. There is no logic to it whatsoever.
Just
Because I've been in places that are completely calm, and everything's great. I'm hanging out with my friends, and suddenly I'm having the biggest panic attack in the world, just for no reason.
yeah,
There's no, yeah, there's no. Sometimes there's a reason for it. Other times there's just no pattern. Just happens for no reason at all.
yeah, and I'm one of these people that don't get starstruck, but like for whatever reason, I get nervous when I have to talk. Like if I go to a concert and I just take photos and I'm right up there up close, I don't get so nervous. But if I have
Yep.
to talk,
Yep.
that's where I get nervous.
Yep. I do all right. Like at the festival we're doing, I'll get to be backstage, and I do all right. You know, the band members accidentally talk to me because I walk away from the crowd to go smoke my cigarettes. You know,
Yeah.
so the band members accidentally talk to me, and for some reason I don't get starstruck kind of anymore either. You know, it's pretty cool to have the access I do. You
Yes.
know, but yeah, I guess I've met enough musicians at this point that, you know, I don't really get starstruck anymore.
But that's incredible. That has got to be an
Yeah.
incredible feeling. I know when I did my first like celebrity interview, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is actually happening." You know, I was so nervous. And then after, you know, the more interviews I did, you know, I'd still get nervous, but I'm like, "Okay, I'm used to this by now. I'm used to this."
Yep, yep,
The
yep.
nerves are gonna be there, but we can just think of them as excitement instead of nerves, and I can deal with it better.
Yeah. Let me back that up. I do get starstruck, but not when I actually talk to them.
Yeah.
I get excited when I'm photographing them. Like
Yeah.
I'm feeling it when I'm taking their picture, but if we're backstage chatting, like you could be anybody. You know what I mean? That's when I'm not starstruck. But when I'm in the pit and I'm getting to take your photograph, like Trey Anastasio from Fish, I got to shoot him a
Oh,
few months back. And I always wear my N95, even if I'm the only one. I still wear my little N95 mask, and I'm really glad I did at that show because I like the entire, because it was one of those three songs thing. So the entire three songs, I was going, oh shit, holy shit, holy shit. Because there was like 25,000 people in the crowd, and I'm like in the photo pit, and Trey is right there, and it was just holy shit. And I had the man holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. You couldn't see it.
I had to say that I had that experience not too long ago because I was at the Billy Idol Kelsey Carter concert, and I'm like,
Oh, fun.
when Billy Idol came out on stage, like I heard the introduction, I'm like, it's Billy Idol. Oh my gosh. He's singing right in front of me. It's Billy freaking Idol. It was incredible.
I still get excited. Like, because, I mean, at this point, they're all my friends. You know, most of the bands I shoot at this point, I know really well, especially at this festival coming up this weekend. And so I still feel that too. I get really, 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 really excited when they take the stage. And the one band that's headlining, I've seen close to 100 times.
Wow.
And I still get the same amount of excitement that I used to. You know, just I love what I do that much.
It's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of you. Like, that's awesome to have that much passion for, you know, your talent. Like, you are a really talented photographer, and I can see it. I can see the passion in your photos. Like, I've seen some of your mushroom photos.
Oh,
and
thanks.
I've seen your concert photos, and I can see that the passion is there, and that's very, very important.
It is. I love it.
In your talent is to have the
Thank
passion.
you.
Because if you don't have the passion, then you know it's just going to be like any other photo. Like you have to see.
Exactly, and I'll finally have the gear to soon. Soon, I hope to have the gear to compete with the big boys.
Yes, that's awesome.
I'm so
happy.
I'm very excited about that.
So
I won't have to feel penis envy in the pit anymore because their lenses are.
There you go.
Their lenses are like this big, and mine. I'm like, yeah.
Win my thing.
Yeah, look away. Look away.
They're going to be incredible.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm getting the shots. I'm getting the shots. You know, I actually, it was hard for me today because I've been gardening. I have found some joy in gardening too.
Oh, that's awesome.
My special interest in mushrooms sort of expanded to include plants now. So I've been like outside weeding, and it's bringing me great peace, which I kind of needed here at home. And it's been hard for me today not to shoot. You know, because I'm trying to rest up because of the fibromyalgia. I'm trying to rest up before the festival this weekend. So it's been hard for me not to get my camera. I did though. I'm not gonna lie. I took a few photos today.
I don't.
So, yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
That's kind of how I am with my artwork right now. I gave up painting for a while, and then I got back into it, and I'm like,
love that.
I'm like, this is so much fun because I'm doing paintings for friends, and I'm doing
amazing.
Walls, and I'm like, I really love this.
That's amazing. My photographs are the first thing I've done because I was a writer for a while, and I liked being a writer here at home, and you just send it out in the world, and you never know who's reading it.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't stand, and you know, my photographs have been the first artistic thing that I've done that I really wanted everybody to see. You know, that I'm really proud of. I'm like, look at this. You know, I sent my brother my portfolio today. It felt really good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I used to not hang my paintings up in my home, and I was so hard on myself, but I started hanging my paintings up because I'm like, you know what? They're not half bad.
That brings me so. Is that your owls behind you? Did you paint those?
I painted those. They're sculptures, but
they're gorgeous.
I can turn the
camera. Oh, there we go.
I have a little bit of artwork right there.
Oh, I love the little kitty cat.
Thank you.
They're so cute.
Yeah, I have a little bit of artwork over here.
You should have hung it. I'm so glad you hung it up.
And
you're really, really good.
I made the witch's hat completely
because it's like as good as my photographs are. I can paint a wall one color, kind of. That's it. I can't paint it all. So it's incredible that's I love your kitty cat. That's so cute. I love it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It brings me joy, and that's the important part, is that, you know, your photography brings you joy, and people need to find what brings them joy in life. Life is far too short. There's too much going on in the world that's chaotic. Need to, you know, calm it down, and you need to find your thing that brings you joy, whether it's reading a book, writing a book, whatever it is. You need to get in your bubble and find your joy.
Yep. It's out there. It's out there. I promise that it is. It's all you got to do is just keep trying. And I know that can get expensive, especially if you choose photography.
Yeah, photography can be pretty expensive. Painting can be expensive.
Yes. Yeah. Everything's expensive right now. Everything's expensive. But you know what? Again, like you just said, life is short. You know, there's a Wookie Foot song about how you can't take it with you. A hearse doesn't come with a trailer hitch. That's how the chorus goes. And that's true. You can't take it with you. Yeah. You can't take it with you. Find your joy right now, because you can't take it with you. Find your joy.
Yes, most definitely. And surround yourself with people who appreciate you for you, and other creatives. It's always nice to meet other creatives. Like, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you, because like, awesome. We're kind of in the same realm, you know. I've done photography, but like, it's so comforting to find other people who have creative like minds. It's wonderful. It's definitely wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to mention, like to tell our audience before we wrap up this episode?
I think we covered everything. My closing remarks are this. Even if you know them, if you see a photographer at a show and they're holding up the camera and they're actively taking pictures, don't touch them.
Yes.
Don't touch them. They are working. Like, you wouldn't do that to your cashier. No. You're not going to do that to the guy who's selling you beer. Don't do it to the person taking the photographs. That's my final word.
Exactly. Respect their space at that moment in time.
Exactly.
After they are done doing what they are doing.
Exactly.
And to my audience members, please, please, please check out Tammie's Etsy page. She's an incredible photographer. You will not be disappointed. Purchase. Help out your fellow artists.
I'm going to get some more stuff up there, I promise. There's not much up there right now. I just started building it, so be patient with me. But follow along and you'll get alerts when I add stuff.
Yeah, most definitely. And until next time,
Thank you so much, Jamie, for having me on. I've had a really good time.
Thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed this interview. I've enjoyed this conversation, and I will definitely keep in touch with you after this show, because you're an incredible, incredible human being, and you are definitely a warrior within. To my audience members, until next time, love, hugs, and blessings.
In my veins, I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame, cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed, all the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say, I don't push pause, no I push play, I won't stop till I make a change, I withdraw on the things I make, I turn flaws into flawless traits, I build tall, never capped in space, I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, da, 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 da.